It's
Oh, thank you.
working.
Got it.
Okay, recording's in progress. I don't know who did that, but thank you.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm gonna unmute Dave and Bev also. This is gonna be a very casual meeting. Right now, we don't even have enough for a quorum. But we can talk anyway. There are some things in LOCAC and land use that with new members and new web pages and trying to find places to document stuff and make it accessible to the public. We're going through some growing pains, I want to call it. And that's kind of like what I wanted input from everybody, you know, on tonight's meeting. And even if we don't have enough for a quorum, we're not voting on anything, we're not making any drastic decisions. But LOCAC wants to have a closed meeting, you know, to discuss where we're going, what we're doing, you know, what is our role, what is not our role. And I would like input from land use members, you know, heading in that same direction, so we're all able to talk about things. Lindy, go ahead.
One thing that I don't see happening anymore, and maybe it's been canceled. Remember, the county used to give a training to all advisory council members countywide. And it was what was it, Julie? Maybe 3 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah, it was a half-day thing.
Yeah, it was really educational. And we have people on the committee that have no clue how the county runs. They don't know anything about anything.
Well,
And I think that would be really important for LOCAC, new LOCAC members to get onto, and anybody that they always invited old members to refresh. So,
and there's that handbook that's on the county website for advisory councils. That maybe that handbook, you might have I read this sign here.
and then you have to have a test.
No test, but you know, just to make sure that everybody's up to speed on what they can do.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead, Larry, sorry.
I was just going to answer Julie's thing. I think I found a copy of that and I put it on our website somewhere. It should be more accessible. Yeah, it should be more accessible.
Maybe email it to all members of all committees and on LOCAC, just so that they have it in their box.
Good idea. That's what.
The website's harder to navigate now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, that's what we're here for. I'm here for, to get this information. I will do something with it. I will email that. Thank you. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was going to say the same thing. It's available out there for all the LOCAC members to get. I don't know if they've read it or not, but I think mailing it to them individually might be a really good approach. So we could bring that up at the LOCAC meeting.
It might be good also to ask the county if they've discontinued that training, if they have a video. I'm sure at some point they've filmed it and be really.
I thought at the beginning of COVID they had a Zoom meeting on this.
They might have.
When I went, we went to the library downtown.
Yeah.
That's where
right.
They did
I think that the manual is good, but you know, people don't read as much as they might if there was a decent video.
Yeah, kind of a tutorial.
Tutorial, then I think people could get together and watch it. And
okay.
You know what else? Trish and Sue, I think, did a they worked really hard on kind of a 1-page, and I'm visualizing it kind of block, little grid of how projects are approved and what the CZLUO is and the framework for planning is, and the general plan and the sterile area plan. All those documents are part of the schooling for how approvals work. So I don't know if that can be dug up and shared with new
Yeah,
folks.
and Trish, I might have, I will ask Trish,
I don't remember what it was called. I'm sorry.
the
We will-
spreadsheet she did.
Yeah,
She did a spreadsheet on
Yeah,
So Dave and Bev have their hand up also.
oh, Dave and Bev, you're unmuted, so just kind of chime in, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's Dave.
Hi, Dave.
I just wanted to comment that the training session sounds like a good idea to me because we have new members of LOCAC who have never even attended a LOCAC meeting before they joined the board. So not only do they not know the county's procedure, they don't know what LOCAC has even been doing for recent days. And this is just sort of, brainstorming at the moment, and I'm gonna turn off the microphone after I say it, and I'll turn it back on if we come up with anything. But just in terms of brainstorming, it occurred to me that there's a Oktoberfest coming up, and it would be great if LOCAC had a booth, or as many committees as possible should have booths out there. So that's something to consider.
That's a really good idea.
Yes, Dave, I wrote it down and I will email all of them tomorrow.
It costs money, but maybe the Chamber of Commerce would give LOCAC a deal.
Okay,
we also spent quite a bit on that Red Barn event, so I think nobody's opposed to, joining community events as LOCAC.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I just would hope that we don't have people that are new on LOCAC trying to educate the public when they really are behind in getting some of the information too. I don't mean to be prejudiced, but I see a big problem there.
are you committing me, Lindy?
No, we're the old timers. Patrick's, self-educated. David, Bev, and Julie and we've all been on this for a long time. I've forgotten half of what I learned, but again, just some of the committees, tree and landscape, I don't even know if they've started it. I have no idea what's going on with it. So.
I do. I think tree and landscape is a new committee now, and I think there's some dedicated people that are involved in it. So we'll see how that goes.
They haven't contacted the rest of people that were on it before.
That's a good question. We'll bring that up. I'll put that in the minutes. Maybe something else we could do is, we do have a budget. So maybe we could just send a card out to the community, via slow mail, announcing things like whatever's coming up, whether it's the Oktoberfest or whatever other community events are happening, and just remind the community that LOCAC meets, and as do the committees, once a month and whatever dates they are, and that we really need public participation, and you're all invited, and please come and give us your views of what you think Los Osos should be like, or where we should be going, and your concerns. That could be all on a little, postcard that's sent out to everybody.
Patrick, I don't know if you've done the homework like some of us who've run for office, but a mailer like that is super expensive. I would say no less than $1,500.
Just the postage.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but how about you approach LOCSD and Golden State to put an insert in their water bills?
Well, that would, and we could do something like that too, but $100 is nothing.
No,
We've got a budget.
$1,500 is a lot.
$1,500.
Yeah, to mail a postcard. Yeah, it's crazy. No, yeah, it's, but I
The other
think,
thing that we've talked about is going into the Estero News and getting a regular column
Yeah.
section, which
And
would
that
just
would-
have a,
Good. That would be
Yeah.
good also.
we used
That'd
to
be
have
cheaper.
an agenda in there. Maybe it was the CSD that had an agenda in the closest to the meeting publication. But certainly that's, and Dean is really flexible.
Mhm. And I think he wants something like that too, to get more community input, so. And I think CSD put something in.
Do they? I haven't noticed.
Kind of think I've seen it. I don't know if it's on a regular, I just think if there was a spot that was CSD and LOCAC, and maybe if the county wanted to have a little section just for monthly, well, bi-weekly updates, it comes out every other week. I've suggested it many times. If I had time, I would take it on. I just don't. I can't commit. I just can't.
I
So
see.
what else are you looking for?
What was that, Julie?
I'm curious, what else, what kind of other input do you want?
Well, Dave and Bev have their hand up again.
Yeah,
It's Bev this time, and I just wanted to say that Oktoberfest is October the 30th. And today is what, the 3rd or the 4th? I don't know. And if you're thinking about mailing or any of that kind of stuff, it needs to be done ASAP.
Yeah, that's a little, we're a little premature on the Oktoberfest one. I mean, we're
Yeah.
not ready for that one, but we do
Yeah.
have other community events that come up, and that was just an idea, but $1,500 would wipe out our budget actually. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the idea of getting it into the, the local paper and, having it sent out into the bills with the CSD and Golden State and all, that might be a good process to follow.
Yeah, if you can get it in soon. Anyway, thank you.
Isn't Jim Stanfield, I think he's very involved with Oktoberfest, so he's on our board still, or did he?
No, he is.
He's,
Yeah. But it's something we
who
probably
was the
have.
contact you had, Dave, to get the booth for the Eltham Forest? What was her name? You recall? Anyway, yeah, he can't remember the name of the lady that was in charge of the booth thing. Anyway, they have a website, Chamber of Commerce.
I think
okay.
the rest of the committee would be interested, especially Deborah with her, some of the ideas of getting the community involved in things, so the transportation committee. And can I ask if anybody has any clue what's going on with the website? Or is it, I wish we could just return back to what we had. It was, I don't know what the problem was, and I don't know why we had to jump into a whole new format. I thought it had something to do, we were running out of memory or space, and I don't know. It was so simple, and it seemed easy to keep up with as far as posting stuff. Of course, Sandra did a lot of that. She had it down.
Well, I see is that it's a lot more time consuming than most people think it is. Lynette spent a lot of time on it. Sandra spent a lot of time. Dave, before that, who took it from me, spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time on it, and I knew nothing what I was doing. So
Lynette too. Mhm.
So I'm in the process of trying to learn the new webpage so I can help out with it. But it's a question of time, because we all have other lives. We are going to work on it though. It is a big topic. Everyone knows about it. Once we get it worked out, it will be good.
If
Well-
we can figure it out.
Yeah,
Well, also Kristen said that, if any of us need to have personal instruction or help on that, she'd be willing to sit down with any of us and go through how to navigate the website. I haven't taken her up on that yet, but the offer is out there. I'm sure it can go to anybody. So,
yeah, I'm on the list there.
yeah.
I'd like to say though, it's just not the public. If you go on and all you see is it gives you a little update about local stuff, but it doesn't show you the committees. There's no list of who's on the committees. There's no list of what time the meetings are. And you have to go find that. It shouldn't be, if I can't find it, the public's not going to find it. I'm just trying to say I'm dumb, but the public's, there's nothing on there that I can find.
Right.
Committees, I keep looking to see if they got updated because I'm trying to see who was it that got on tree and landscape. There's zero information. There's no meeting date. There's nothing. So and we can take down the homeless committee stuff. That's long gone, but that's still like one of those flashing things that you're supposed to go, oh, let's see what this is. It's passed. It's done.
Yeah,
If we wanted to save it as a document someplace, great, but it's not of any interest to anybody right now.
yeah. And
So anyway, those are just, I know I was supposed to write down a whole list of things and send them to you, Larry, but again, that's time consuming. So
yes,
I think just if we took somebody that isn't totally computer literate or doesn't know and ask them if they're having, I mean, what is it that they want to find? If I want to see committees, it shouldn't be just kind of lost up in the corner. It should be it should say something about LOCAC mission statement, and then it should say committees. That's what's important. When do people meet? What do we do? Da, da, da. It's just,
So Lindy,
Anyway.
when I do the minutes this time, I'll try to add as many of those comments of yours right there in the minutes. So we'll have that documented somehow.
okay, well, just overall, I think that it was a pretty simple website. And I'm not sure if we've made progress by getting into a fancier setup that really, I don't know, how long has it been going now?
Yeah, not for most of us, not the progress that we were looking for, but younger people can navigate those things pretty easily, and it'd be nice to get more younger people of the community involved.
Well, I think Tom was very interested in helping with it, and he's pretty bright. He does.
Yeah, he
But
is.
I don't know if he can make sense of it either, because he doesn't know what it was before, because he wasn't ever on LOCAC before.
Right. Yeah,
And probably looked at the, website a couple times, but that's, that lack of history is kind of failing us a little bit, I think.
one of the other things that were on the agenda that we would be discussing right now is maybe what do people see the purpose of the land use committee? What is our purpose for the community?
According to some, we don't have any purpose because we deny all growth because of the water situation. So
Well,
kind of
we don't deny all growth. We've been denying water growth, but not all growth.
I know, but I think we've sort of gotten put into it.
Isn't our role to vet the projects and help the applicant sort of navigate their way through the next steps, and that LOCAC is the next step, and after that's the planning department hearing or a planning commission, depending on the size or scale of the project, and then the board of soup. We're just the first stop, and to raise the issues that we do sort of sets the stage for what's coming. And and then if our role, I mean, if you don't think there's a role, then I don't know. I mean, back in the 90s and early 2000s, there were no committees. There was just LOCAC. people went straight to LOCAC. I think the committees all started with wanting to, engage more community members, and that's how Lindy and I became public members. Lindy actually was on LOCAC when this committee started, and then it was made into a public member. But for the various committees, it was a way of expanding the base, so for more education and more people's involvement, because not everyone can get elected to LOCAC. Having the public members just made it broader. But
Right. Dave or Bev, what do you think? Dave, you have your hand up. Bev, have your hand up.
Yep, it's Dave. I agree with Julie that it's the first stage, but as far as being public attendees at these meetings, both at Land Use and at LOCAC and at other committees, it's the first opportunity for community members to get involved in anything that has any kind of impact on anything. And at LOCAC, they don't have an hour or two to spend on issues that Land Use spends an hour or two on. So sometimes something comes up, and it does take a long time at LOCAC. But a perfect example is the vacation rental ordinance. That was meeting after meeting, hour after hour at Land Use, until finally we whipped together something that made it through LOCAC. And so it was a meeting that was specially oriented at the purpose of vacation rentals, nothing else. And so people weren't waiting for the highway patrol or the fire department or somebody else to make a report. It was just paying attention to that one issue. And then when it finally was ready for LOCAC to deal with, then it went to LOCAC. So it's the first chance for the public to get involved in something. And a lot of times nobody comes, or hardly anybody comes, to Land Use. But by the time it gets to LOCAC, they've become activated and they know about it because it's the second time around.
And may I add something to that? I think that makes the website even more important, because the public will have no way of knowing about the meetings unless they're announced and clearly appearing there so that we can find out. Anyway, Dave, did you want to say anything else?
Just that a general ad or column or something wouldn't have to be monthly or bi-weekly. In the Bay News, every once in a while, to say what LOCAC is and name the committees and tell what times they meet. That would be something that wouldn't require anybody to do a lot of work on to have a column, but it would be something that people could find out about and have a chance of at least knowing when meetings are taking place.
Good input.
Once the website's working.
Yeah, it was interesting, came upon me recently, because we're always asking, did they send out letters, to the surrounding homes or anything to get the input from it, which always takes time and to get a response from. But then someone from the county said to me that they want to hear from LOCAC and Land Use first, so they know how to guide a project through, i.e. we support a project or we don't, but then at least, like, we don't support it, and that gives the county planning a clue where to go with it, what to ask them to change or modify their project, Um,
So,
Wait.
so Larry, are you saying if, so say we saw one of the Dos Osos projects and they showed us a color board and they wanted purple house. And we would advise them that that's maybe a bad idea and maybe go with lavender. And that's the information we're supposed to give the county planning department to help them guide the
If-
people. I mean, that's
if-
extreme example.
Yeah, but two things on that. First of all, I would like them to send a card to all their neighbors and say they're going to paint their door purple, and get the input from the neighbors. And if all the neighbors say, "Hey, great idea," then when they come to LOCAC first, we can say, "Hey, we support the purple door," and then we can recommend this on to land use, to LOCAC, hey, everyone's in agreement, a purple door is fine, and we can put that to water use or vacation rental or whatever thing you want to put in. The issue I was bringing up, the system is set up backwards, that they have to come to us first, and then they don't have to send those cards out till after we've looked at the project.
So I would
And-
say the reason that those cards don't go out is until the project has received the deemed complete.
Yeah,
And so the info holds are lifted, then it's deemed complete, then those cards go out. And then again, it's a mailing expense. And the homeowner has to pay for that. It's wrapped in their fees.
I'm not, not the fee part. I don't want to do that, but it's again, the neighbors can't see the project until they have a completed project.
Right.
They don't get a completed project until before land use says something about it.
Mhm.
So if we say we don't like purple doors, they
Yeah.
don't get that card until, green doors are chosen, and we might, that was never an option for us. Is that following?
I'm confused now. I understood that this is why I say things are changing. The planning department isn't running as smoothly as it used to. And that's just because they've lost a lot of the old people that ran it. And so they're doing a few shortcuts. COVID didn't help. But I understood that we got projects that were close to final. And at the same time, the notifications went to the surrounding neighbors so that they could also come to our land use meeting and we could all look at it at one time. And what we're seeing now is give us an idea if you kind of like this project, and then the owners will push on through. So something I don't know why I can't explain it better, but we used to get projects that were, they could be modified, but they were pretty much done. They came to us, the letters went out to the neighbors showed up at our meeting because they were told that we would be discussing it at land use. Then we, all sat down and kind of looked over. We used to get big blueprints. We could sort of see things. The process has changed. If they're waiting for us to give a pre-approval, which I kind of don't, I don't know why it's so expensive, but anyway, maybe Julie can answer that better.
No, I don't know that that's accurate though, Lindy. I think that we've always gotten referrals earlier than we'd like to see them because so many things are put on hold, until they hear back from, Public Works or fire department and those kinds of things. And we've been sort of laying out everything we see wrong or have ideas on really early. And then they, if we say, oh, this driveway is too narrow and the fire department's not going to like it, we generally are in front of the fire department until we're early, and that's just been their way. What are, not to place any blame, but the turnover at the planning department, a lot of bad information has gone to applicants, and they do get in deeper than maybe they should with that bad information, and it's cost them a lot of money to pull back. So I don't have the answer. I think it's more of a, maybe Carrie Brown can talk about it at some point if we request her to give us that presentation of what exactly, but maybe it just goes back to the basics of the orientation of being a land use or a LOCAC member, advisory council member. What our expectations are maybe too high, and that it's going to be a real bare bones application that we see.
And Julie, I think you were very correct when I think it is a planning commission county problem. And I think it's just a turnover in the fact that people aren't really getting the information that they are required or should be getting. And so they get involved really deeply, and then it's been that their projects have not gone through, and they wonder why weren't they told this or that in the first place. And so now people are a little gun shy, and they're going, well, let's figure out first what we can do with this and if it's going to get approved before we move on with it. So I think that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I hate to see somebody go through the process and then could have been told ahead of time, hey, it's not going to work right now. Before they spend good time and money putting something together. Just I think it's better communication and stuff, and that's where land use comes in before it goes to LOCAC.
Yeah.
We can talk about things. We're neighbors. We live here. It's
Yeah.
Well, maybe kind of the elephant in the room again is why we can't approve a lot of what we look at is because of the water resource problem. And, I know from a couple of things I've heard, the county is not always clear with applicants when they buy property or when they want to build something of how severe or the fact that, so maybe we need to ask the county to give us a list of what they tell applicants, so we can see if we feel that they're wasting applicants' time sometimes.
that would be nice, but I think that's the reality that isn't going to happen. So it's better for me to have them talk with the community, us, first, because we're trying to help them. I'm trying to help them. I think it's my goal as as a land use member and as LOCAC to help people in the community achieve what they want to achieve, if it's possible, to add a bedroom or to, for again, us, land use, what you can do with the land,
Does anybody-
and if county's not going to be able to give us a definitive checklist,
Excuse me.
which sounds logical but difficult to get, then hey, come talk with us. We'll tell you what we think, and we tell you what the county thinks, to help them.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that approach, but are we used to, they were sort of going ahead and as a kindness, sending us the list of what are they called, Julie? Want to call them mitigational, migrational? The permits that we don't see that the county goes ahead and approves.
Yeah,
Ministerial.
So, ministerial, thank you. I don't know why that word.
all of us,
Anyway.
all of us put together, we can come up with things.
Right.
Ministerial. But for instance, we have no information about trees being cut. Yeah, zero. It's so if the county wants to be efficient and make use of land use, they need to be a little, I don't think it's difficult at all. It's a quick computer thing that if it's something that we're going to go ahead and approve, send it over to that list that we give to LOCAC once a month. And just say we approved it. We approved cutting down that forest of trees. We approved. But again, I just, it's frustrating to not know. Probably, I would think now 2/3 of the projects are on that ministerial list. And it's a sloppy list. You know,
Corey's
building a shed. What size shed? What for?
Yeah,
We approved it. So you guys don't need to have any input. So, you know, we're just window dressing it in some cases at this point. I don't think they really are being very professional about sharing what they're issuing permits for. But I seem to be the only one that's concerned about that, so.
When you say in this one? No, this, why this way?
Julie, is that you and Jeff talking?
Yes, he wants to know which way to cut the bell peppers.
You haven't trained him yet?
Yeah.
This is the training. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Jeff.
He's cooking dinner tonight, I take it.
Yeah, I'm texting him the instructions.
Anyway, again, the county works for us. We are the people. We pay their salary. They are the governmental agency that is, you know, trying to keep things going correctly. If they can't send us the ministerial list and yet they just spent, you know, $1 million putting a new system together, I'm not sure what to say, but I expect more from them. I expect to have them train their people well enough, have it go through somebody that goes, oh no, you know, you can't, you know, the little boo-boos and mistakes. This new planner that did the Los Osos Valley Nursery, and she admitted, she goes, I'm new, I don't really know a lot, and I you know, I do what I think I can do, and then I let somebody else look at it, and then we move ahead. So if we're going to be eyes and ears on some of this stuff, then we need to be included.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
Dave?
Larry, do you want a direction from us or what do we,
Yeah.
it sounds like a round robin and we're all
Yeah.
on.
That's about where we're going with it right now. There's not, we've all talked pretty much about what we thought. I think Dave and Bev had their hand up again though.
Yeah, I just had one more thing to say, and that was in terms of what Lindy was saying about the county and the information they provide us with. At the last LOCAC, it was quite interesting to finally learn, because I guess we just asked the right question, somebody did, finally learned why the community plan and the
Habitat Conservation Plan.
Habitat Conservation Plan aren't moving forward. And we had no idea that there was discussion going on between the county and the Coastal Commission on features of those plans. All we knew was they told us 2 years ago that it would probably take about a year, and hadn't had a word since. So that was good information. It would be nice to know what they are discussing between the county and the Coastal Commission.
Dave,
But
were
at
you
least
through
we
or
know
did
that they
you
are
get cut
discussing
off?
something.
I hear you, Dave. You could probably do a public records request for
I
the
think you might have gotten cut
communication.
off, Dave.
No, I heard Dave the whole time.
I heard him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you're frozen, Larry.
You're frozen, Larry.
Yeah, but Dave, you could do public records requests and see what's in writing back and forth between the two agencies. I haven't done that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's all kinds of things that we can rummage out of the county if we knew where to look and wanted to take the time. But I just assume they'd just come out and say, well, the reason that the community plan and the habitat conservation plan are bogged down is because of negotiations that are going on with the coastal commission, and this is what we're negotiating.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
mean, some
well,
of
our
us-
supervisor could tell us a few things,
Yeah.
Who is that, Julie?
right?
Right.
Well, our current representative for 16 years should
Right.
be able to tell us what the holdup is and what they're asking about.
Yeah, that sounds good.
He kind of runs the planning department.
Well, he gives us little mini updates, which are basically not ready yet.
Yeah, but he could get into detail.
I wonder if we're gonna get the longest running attempt to have a habitat conservation plan award.
Oh, no, we're not, because
Somebody up worse off.
yes, the Arroyo Grande Creek Habitat Conservation Plan is older than ours. And it's still
Really?
not done. Arroyo Grande Creek, yeah.
I cannot understand. I mean, I don't get. It's not that hard.
It seems like it, but you have to have buy-in from the Fish and Wildlife Service. So,
Well, somebody's not doing their job. I mean,
yeah.
aren't we on like 16 years or something?
Oh, 1995. No longer,
Wow.
25 years. 27 years.
Crazy.
So if we're done, I'm
I
gonna
think
go
so.
cut the bell peppers.
Yeah, Dave and Bev, you have your hand up again though? Okay. It's down now. All right, well, I will write up minutes and try to include as much as I remember here, and I have a recording of this, so I'll go through that.
So
And,
will we approve the minutes from last meeting at next meeting instead then when we have,
well, yeah, because we don't have a quorum right now.
okay,
So did you get to read the minutes, Julie?
I did, and there's a couple problems, but I'll
Well-
tell you next time.
Okay, no, let me know what they are, because I wrote them up. I want to get
Okay.
the minutes right.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, you know what I'll do? I'll just email you, Patrick.
Do that. Okay. I
Okay.
appreciate that. All
All
right,
right.
thank you. All right, anything else, Larry?
That's it. I think we got a lot answered and got a lot of stuff down. I want to thank
Thanks,
everybody.
Dave and Bev, for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good night.
All right, thank you. We'll end it
Okay.
here.
Talk to you guys pretty soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
night, Larry. Thank you. Night, Dave, Bev. Night,
Good
Larry.
night. Good night.
Night.